Urban farming is the practice of cultivating, processing, and distributing food in or around urban areas. Once considered a largely rural activity, urban farming has grown in popularity the last 10 to 15 years due to the rapid urbanization of developing regions. With growing importance placed on food security concerns in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, more people in Malaysia have turned to urban farming. FMT recently visited 2 urban farms in the Klang Valley to get a better insight. One such farm is Urban Hijau in Taman Tun Dr. Ismail in suburban Kuala Lumpur, located on a 0.6-acre site. Irfan Mohammed, one of the founders, told FMT that their aim was to promote sustainability aside from closing the distance between the farm and consumer.
The food security issue was answered last year during the pandemic when during the MCO the borders were closed and a lot of food was not able to enter the Klang Valley. And that was when people actually started to reach out to us. They said, do you do food aid? Do you do food aid? Because we know people who haven't seen fresh produce in 3 months. And that's when through a crowdfunding program we raised funds and we started giving out food aid. So a lot of the food that ends up in the food aid bank is food that has transported from somewhere else into the Klang Valley into the Pasar Besar Selayang, and that has been sorted, has been sold. Up to 3/4 has to be thrown away because it's rotten. Whereas when we do food aid, the vegetables is harvested in the morning, sent before lunchtime, arrives at the beneficiary's household by midday.
The farm produces between 300 to 400 kilograms of various types of crops every month for customers around the area, aside from giving out food aid. He said the pandemic had shown that it was crucial that the government needed to think of ways to bring food closer to the community.
We need 1,000 one-acre farms, not 1,000-acre farms. So if we start with 1,000 one-acre farms throughout Malaysia, we will address a large proportion of the food security, and each farm will then train other people that will then produce more farms, and soon we will have sufficient cluster farms throughout Malaysia to be a net exporter of food, no longer worrying about importing food.
Despite the many benefits of urban farming, some are still reluctant to pursue it, resulting in many urban farm projects being abandoned.
I would say the biggest hurdle is people. There are a lot of space within the Klang Valley to start farming. There's also a lot of abandoned urban farming projects throughout Malaysia, not just in the Klang Valley. And it's because, and this is not just me, many people in the natural farming space have said the same thing. It's often people. People are not inspired to make a change. People are not given the proper credit, i.e. proper remuneration, proper knowledge, proper training to stay true and persevere to establish an urban space. So we've been very fortunate. We've persevered for 7 years and now we are seeing amazing results.
He added, it was a misconception that urban farms require a lot of labor or a large plot of land. This was clearly evident when FMT visited Kebun Kemensa in Ampang, run by a couple, Federica Agnese and Abdul Azim Che Abdul Rahim, who started their urban farm from their own front yard early this year. They said their aim was to show that anybody can grow their own produce with the right technique.
So it definitely needs labor, but not necessarily too much. It's all about system. Once you develop a system on how to do things and you have this kind of like protocol on how to behave if things happen, I think it's quite easy to transfer it to someone else. So for example,
the couple tend to their small urban garden, covering about 900 square meters, which produces a monthly harvest of 40 to 50 kilograms. They said they had always wanted to start a sustainable local fruit production operation in the city.
Here we have the opportunity to start something like a local fruit production in the city. So bringing the agriculture into an urban neighborhood. So that way we are reducing the distance between where food is produced and where it's being consumed. On the other hand is when we faced when COVID came about, And then there was the first lockdown. Suddenly everybody realized that we have a problem with our food supply chain, food production system. So that kind of brought more the importance of having a local food production system embedded in the community, in the society.
One thing is evident. With the growing need to build a resilient, sustainable food supply chain, more people are likely to take up urban farming post-pandemic.